Bill King joining us here at Nashville Sports Radio, the king of college football talk, 6 to 9, every day, Monday through Friday. Bill, we are having these days, as I am calling it, a highly scientific ESPN Arkansas popularity poll to decide which is the most popular show here on our station. That includes our friend Ty Richardson, The Morning Rush, the show that you come on here with us, halftime, Ruskin and Zach in the afternoons. And so we're kind of pitting the shows against each other here. Let me ask you this. Is it good when shows on the same station are rivals or at least competitive between themselves? And do you have any shows that you are competitive with?
On the main station where we broadcast?
That's right.
No, because my show is completely different than probably anybody else's show. And I just personally, guys, all the cookie cutter, same old thing. My show is so much different. But I mean, so I don't look at it that way, no. Now maybe to a certain extent, and again, we're not even on at the same time, but maybe Feinbaum. But it's a different show than Feinbaum's. This is different than mine. So I don't think there's a good example for us.
Okay. All right. Well, and we're leading right now, and I think that you're once a week.
I'll vote right after the show.
Very good.
Appreciate it.
It's 877-377-6963. Just put in a text. You don't have to say what your name is.
Oh, okay.
So this leads into the conversation about potential rivalries inside the locker rooms in the various college sports with name, image, and likeness beginning tomorrow. And it's got that Wild West feel to it. The whole feeling is that nobody knows which direction this is going to go, but that it could, and I think in a lot of people's minds, will cause rifts in locker rooms. So as this Wild West begins tomorrow, what are your thoughts on what we might see in the near future?
Yeah, one offensive lineman who's got a big name has an endorsement, the others don't. Parents get mad. Maybe it's a single parent. Where's mine? Where's my kids?
Mm.
There's a number of issues. I was reading, Alabama's laid theirs out pretty good, all their rules. One of them is you cannot offer somebody name, image, and likeness as a potential recruit. You can't do that until they either sign or get on campus, I guess, and they're actually playing there. How are you going to police that? I don't know how you possibly police that at all. There's a bunch of issues here that I don't think will get policed. You really think the NCAA, which is doing absolutely basically nothing these days other than running tournaments, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they're going to police a bunch of big mess, name, image, likeness, improprieties? This is crazy, guys.
It is crazy, and it's going to be weird until we have a kind of a one name, image, and likeness broad over everybody instead of doing state by state until we have a government NIL. It's going to look weird. It's going to be different, and it could be the Wild West. In the state of Tennessee, though, how are they handling everything with NIL?
I just think I haven't seen, as you refer to, every state, the ones that have passed this have their own laws. There's nothing that syncs any of this up. And one state may be way liberal and more lenient than another when it comes to the rules here. That's why I was going through Alabama's to see, because you knew they would be way out in front on this. If anybody's going to be out front on it, it's going to be Nick Saban and company.
Yeah.
But I think the state of Tennessee is pretty much uniform with all of this. State institutions, you can go out and obtain name, image, likeness. You can have an agent to do that. Supposedly, now here's another one. The agent's not supposed to at all be involved in your future when it comes to your pro situation, only for name, image, likeness. Good luck policing that one.
Oh, that'd be a nightmare.
Right.
That's
right.
a difficult one to
university employees are not allowed to be involved in the procurement. Now, you can go, they're going to have offices where you can go and get information and maybe take classes and stuff, but no university employee is allowed to say, just got a call. Well, I think you could pass it on, but they can't go out and knock on Coca-Cola's door, Arkansas, knock on Walmart's door and say, hey, I got a guy here you probably want to want to endorse. You can't do that, they say.
Well, Arkansas right now has these, they've got 3 very recognizable national brands in Walmart, Tyson, and J.B. Hunt and the Walton School of Business, and they've all combined for this flagship program that the University of Arkansas has put together for student athletes for this very, moment of name, image, and likeness. And so it's been pretty interesting to see how they've gotten all of them together. I need to dig in and find some of the rules that you're referring to from Alabama about Arkansas. I want to ask you about, we got the last college baseball game tonight. It's Vanderbilt, Mississippi State. The edge has got to go to Vandy just because they've got Rocker going. And when I look at his numbers, Bill, he's got an ERA in his career in the NCAA tournament of 1.16. He wins this game today, which I think he will. He's going to go down as potentially, I don't want to say the greatest, but he'll certainly be one of the greatest College World Series or NCAA tournament performers in the history of the sport.
Think so. Yeah, and as a junior, obviously this is his last hurrah. He's gone. So it's been a remarkable run. And again, guys, I know I've said this ad nauseum. I saw him in 7th grade, and I didn't notice this, but it's been a remarkable run. He's an incredibly classy kid, and he's got a really stable family. Mom and dad are all the games. Like I told you guys, his dad's one of the most famous defensive linemen in the history of SEC football, played at Auburn. And, it's been a remarkable run for that kid. And I tell you, the one thing that worries me, and I don't know if a lot of runs will be scored tonight or not. You think maybe not. But the Vandy bats are very inconsistent. Yeah. And you can see a situation where Rocker's sitting out there grinding out, strikeout after strikeout, and it being 0-0. That's a scary. And then you get his pitch count up and everything else. There's a lot of different ways this could go.
Yeah, there is, Bill, and knowing kind of how Nashville and how the state of Tennessee really, especially in sports, really works, how much does Vandy winning a College World Series national championship actually move the needle for Nashvillians?
Not much. I mean, Vanderbilt, have you seen the crowds out there? Mississippi State, I'd say he's got 90% of the crowd, seems like. I mean, it's a big deal. I mean, it's a national championship. Tim Corbin's, I think, the best college baseball coach, certainly currently, and I think one of the best modern history, bare minimum. But it doesn't move the needle much because
no parade down Broadway.
99% of the state is Vanderbilt, right? I mean, they don't care about Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt has a very small fan base. They've got a decent baseball fan base, but that's relative to everything else. They've got virtually little to nothing left with football fan base. Basketball has eroded. So it doesn't move the needle overall much.
Bill, I'll end your segment here with a thought on this because both of these people's names came up on our show today. So we saw Jay Cutler at the game last night with the Cutler face, that permanent scowl, and earlier somebody mentioned that he thought that Bobby Petrino hated every coach that he coached against. And I never saw Petrino smile unless he was wearing a neck brace during that press conference. Who has the better permanent smile, but a permanent sneer between those two?
I'm going to say, now, you're saying sneer, right? Okay. I'm going to say Petrino because, scowl. I'm going to say Petrino because I like Cutler. I don't like Petrino. Now, that doesn't mean I didn't recognize him as a very good coach, but he was just a first-class jerk. Everything else aside, I've never met a bigger pompous jerk than that guy in the coaching world. So any way to disparage him and compliment Cutler, I will do.
I'm glad that you went that route. That's well done. And Bill, appreciate your time as always, man. Have a great week. Enjoy tonight's game. You got it.
Okay.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks.